Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my F1 2018 career mode on the F1 2017 game. And it's going to be interesting to see how this episode goes here for the Russian Grand Prix. And it's going to be a pretty good race, I think. P5 is where we start the race from as Sebastian Vettel in this mod. And it's going to be a pretty interesting one. Qualifying was average, I'd say. I don't really enjoy this track, I've got to be honest with you, and my pace is a bit hit and miss around this circuit. Dry qualifying, however, as you can see, we have a wet race. Intermediate conditions required for the start of this Grand Prix, so it could be pretty interesting and pretty tasty to see how the weather progresses over the story of this race. But overall, if you guys did miss the last episode, do check that one out by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. Now, in terms of the grid itself, Mercedes were absolutely immense in qualifying. They were so quick around here. No one could touch them. Then Kimi Kylie managed P3. And like I said, we got P5. Splitting the Red Bull was not the best qualifying, but can't really complain too much. I don't really enjoy this track, like I mentioned. So, for me, I'm not too fussed. We did what we could, and we will work in the race and try and recover the positions as best as we can. But overall, a pretty interesting grid here, quite mixed up with the Sabres bringing up the rear. And now we're going to see exactly what sort of weather we have for this race and what the weather forecast is. I'm sort of hoping there's some dry running here and it's not completely wet, but we'll have to wait and see. My gut tells me, I've got a feeling it's going to be intermediates the entire race. Am I right? Yes, I am. So there you go. I've had this race a million times around Sochi, where it's almost, I don't want to say it's scripted to the point where this weather forecast is inbuilt to the game. So it's going to be a whole race on intermediates, so that's going to be pretty boring in a way, because when there's no changeable conditions, then it's just one set of wet tyres. Whatever pace you have is the pace that you have, and that is it. So let's see how it goes. A one-stop race is what we were expecting. Tyre wear obviously very low around this circuit, so let's see if we can make it an interesting race. I'll try my best, but I'm not expecting this to be an absolute cracker by any means, as Russia never provides the most exciting race. But let's see what happens. We're starting from P5, and let's see if we can try and make our way into the top 3 at least and challenge for a podium position. So with that being said, it is now time for the Russian Grand Prix for round number 14 of the season. Right then, here we go. Let's get ready for the 5 red lights for the Russian Grand Prix. Lights out, and away we go. And it's a good reaction to the lights, actually. Ricardo off to a great start. We've actually had a pretty good one as well. One of my better starts. I never seem to get a good start in the wet. Verstappen, though, has got past me, which is perfectly fine. I've got Hulkenberg trying to make the move on the right-hand side in the Renault as we go into turn 2 for the first time this race. Got to be careful. Going to get boxed in here. Hulkenberg making the move. I'm going to get the traction, though, and get on the outside. Can I go on the outside of turn 3? Yes, I can. Oh, not quite. Hulkenberg coming back at me, but he's backed out of it. And I'm going to retake 6th place. So far, pretty good start. I'm not going to complain. Ricardo getting the best start up in the P3 there, gaining 2 places off of the line. So, really good start there from the Aussie. We're going to see what our pace is like in these wet conditions and if we can actually race these guys today. I feel like we can definitely beat the Red Bulls. Raikkonen's going to be touch and go. The Mercedes, I just get the impression that they're just a bit too quick for everybody this race. So we'll have to see how exactly that progresses. But overall, good start. Front wing in one piece, which is the main thing, and that's the most important thing you want in these sort of races, because there's no strategy element to sort of bring you back into play unless there's a safety car. So we've got our front wing in one piece, so we can try and work from here and adapt to the pace and see if we can get past these guys and make the move. So yeah, I'll cut back to you guys once we have some sort of action in this race, but for now it's going to be pretty much adapting to the conditions and getting used to this race. Okay, we're just starting to put the pressure on Verstappen here. My car is definitely pretty tail happy, I'm not going to lie. The back end likes to step out a lot in these conditions. However, we are still faster than Verstappen, so we are going to have the opportunity here of getting past the Dutchman, I feel, potentially onto the home straight. If I keep it nice and tidy now through these final few corners and stay nice and close to the Red Bull driver like we have done there. Absolutely brilliant exit. Keep it nice and close, keep the distance between me and him as short as possible, and that way we'll have the best chance of getting past him on the straight. And there we go, a very nice final sector. We almost matched Hamilton's fastest lap. Probably could have beaten it if we hadn't got stuck behind Verstappen, but we're now going for the inside the turn 1. Verstappen gives me the squeeze. I'm going to push him back and let him know that I'm not going to back out from the move. Verstappen's still there. We're going to go to the inside of turn 1, under braking. Can we make it? Or turn 2, should I say. There we go. Nicely executed, but we get a massive tank slapper on the exit there. Just the back end is so tail happy around this circuit, but we're now up into P5. Back into original starting position. Now let's try and chase down Kimi Raikkonen. I feel like I've got some good pace at the minute in these conditions, so I want to try and make it count. There we go, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, good pace. Really closing up the gap now to Raikkonen. So far, Hamilton, who's leading, is not really running away with it, and Bottas is starting to put the pressure on him. Also, Ricardo's actually keeping up quite nicely as well. And we're all in fairly close proximity here, especially if those Mercedes start battling. It can be anyone's race to win. So right now we've got the pace, which I'm quite surprised, so I want to try and make it count and keep on setting them fastest laps of the Grand Prix. We're now within a second of my teammate Kimi Räikkönen, so we're putting the pressure on Verstappen, struggling to keep up. This front five is starting to bunch up again as the Mercedes are starting to battle, so this is going to get very, very tasty. I'm really starting to put the pressure on my teammate now as Räikkönen is just can't really catch up to Ricciardo and the Mercedes. Ricciardo really starting to put the pressure on here on Valtteri Bottas, I think it is. We are really close to Räikkönen this lap, and I might use some Rich mix to try and make the pass. Here we go out the final corner, crank it up to Rich. Let's get that extra horsepower flowing through the engine. Here we go, gaining on my teammate. Gaining bit by bit. Räikkönen goes defensive slightly. We're going to commit to the inside though. Braking late for turn 2. Up the inside, exact same moves with the Verstappen. And that is absolutely perfect. A little bit less contact as Räikkönen is my teammate. You know, Verstappen is more of an aggressive driver. And we're now in P4. So pace is good. I just need the Mercedes to start battling a little bit with Ricciardo. And then I'm going to really have a good chance of getting past these guys. There we go. Another fast lap of the Grand Prix. That was a mega final sector. We was 3/10 down in the middle sector on my personal best, so that was a massive last sector, but we're really putting the pressure on now. Hamilton has started to realise, and he's starting to break away now. Bottas is struggling to keep up. Ricciardo now putting the pressure on the Finnish driver here in the Mercedes, so Bottas could be in trouble as we both try to get past him in the coming laps here. Okay, onto the back straight. Not the best exit, but we are going to crank it up to rich revs. I wonder if we can get a run on Ricciardo. Does Ricciardo have too much of a tow from Bottas? I think he's got a little bit too much of a tow from the Mercedes driver, but we are going to get extremely close. I'm on for another fast lap here, 2.5 tenths up, or a quarter of a second on my fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but now we're going to get held up a little bit through this final sector, but we are getting very close to Ricciardo here. Thought about for the dive into the inside of that corner for a second there, but I'm going to wait until the home straight, see if I can maybe even do a 2-for-1 pass. If Ricciardo is close enough to Bottas, we might get the double toe. Oh, I'm hot on the brakes there. A little bit of a love kiss to Ricciardo, locking up the right front slightly. We're going to stay nice and close into the final corner. Hamilton now fastest lap, responds to my pace. Rich mix now flowing on Ricciardo. We're going to go the inside of turn 1, same place as Verstappen. Make the move. That Red Bull is definitely still pretty quick in a straight line here. We are edging ahead. Ricciardo does well on the brakes, but we're going to take the inside line again and make the move. We're going to squeeze him out onto the curb at the exit of turn 2 into 3, and we're now into the podium places. Up next, Valtteri Bottas and Hamilton, as you saw, fast up at the Grand Prix. He's starting to pick up the pace, so we need to respond here and get past Valtteri as soon as possible. We might have a chance here on Bottas. I've actually had a pretty good exit. He's got no slipstream, so I'm going to go up into rich mix. Can we get close to the other Iceman, you could say, on the brakes? Not quite, not close enough, but Bottas does lock up a little bit. That's going to put him on the back foot as we go under the bridge. Switchback manoeuvre, cutting back underneath. And there we go. That is a fantastic overtake on Bottas there. Bottas definitely must be struggling with his rear tyres a bit. He got absolutely no traction out of that corner at all. And we're now in second place, so the pace is really good here. We might actually be able to challenge for the win. At first, I was sceptical in this race, seeing the conditions, but this Ferrari's come alive in these intermediate conditions, so this is good news for us. And the best thing is the race is going to be like this for the rest of the race, so we're going to be quick the entire Grand Prix. So Hamilton has got a lot of pressure to contend with here. Needs to try and find some pace because I've just done the fast lap of the Grand Prix yet again. So this race has come alive here, and we could be in for a very interesting 17 laps to go here. Apparently 10 more minutes of rain, even though on the monitor it said intermediates the entire way through, so I'm not going to really trust that radio message, and I'm going to stick with the strategy that was given to me and trust the conditions. Either way, we've gained a lot in this lap. Another fast lap of the Grand Prix, only marginally quicker, but still it's competitive lap times, and we're now within 2 seconds of Lewis Hamilton, 1.8 to be exact. That was, I think, 9 tenths on that last lap, so Hamilton now has sort of come out of the pace a bit and wasn't running as fast as he once was, as we got a yellow flag on the back straight. But we are really starting to put the pressure on Lewis now, and this race is coming alive here at Sochi. Another fastest lap into the 1 minute 49s. The pace is so strong at the minute, and I can do these laps very easily at the moment. Really starting to catch up to Hamilton and put the pressure on him now. It might be looking like an undercut situation or an overcut, depending on what Hamilton does in the pit stops. Very close to Lewis this lap. I might even have a chance of passing him here. Not the greatest exit, but we are close enough. Rich mix flowing. Here we go. We're gaining on Lewis. Is it going to be enough? I think it might be. We are going to have a crack here on the braking. late braking move. A very fast lap so far, a quarter of a second up on my fastest lap as we go around the outside of Lewis. Look at the grip we have, and we've just completely sailed around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Fantastic move, and we are into first place of the Russian Grand Prix. Absolutely just loving these wet conditions, this car, and we've just come alive, and we're just driving the wheels off of this thing and absolutely loving it. It's absolutely effortless, and we are so damn quick. So phenomenal move on Lewis, and we're now into the Russian Grand Prix. So we're looking very good as the pit window opens. So we're going to come in this lap and strap on a fresh set of boots and get on our way on the second stint of this Grand Prix. Here we go then, let's get ready for our first and only stop of the Grand Prix. I'm actually 4 tenths up on my 49.9. I'm absolutely flying around here, but we are going to come in for a fresh set of boots. So I don't even know what lap times we're going to be sitting on these new Inters, but it's going to be bloody quick, I know that for a fact. Bit of a conservative entry, could have pushed that a little bit more, but I wasn't really sure where the pit speed limit line was, but we are in the pit lane. I think Raikkonen has stayed out, so it's myself, Hamilton, and I want to say Ricciardo in the pit lane. So let's see where we rejoin. Gap to speed, 2.7, not a fantastic stop. Wasn't the best getaway either. However, we are in P4. It's going to be touch and go to see if we do remain there. I think we might just about remain in P4 if we can get out to speed quick enough. It's going to be close though with some AI cars. As we leave the pit lane now, there's one guy racing down the home stretch. I think we are going to just about remain ahead. It's Kevin Magnussen. He's got ahead of Hamilton. Is he going to get me? I don't think he is. We're just going to rejoin in some critical clean air, and that is why the pass on Hamilton was so critical to make that move, because now Hamilton's going to have to get past Magnussen, and I'm going to get the chance to fly away from the 4-time world champion. Okay, we have Verstappen, Bottas and Kimi in the pit lane. Let's see where they rejoin. It's probably going to be behind me, so I'm not really too concerned. Will one of them be able to jump Hamilton maybe? Raikkonen and Bottas are right there leaving the pit lane now, so it's going to be touch and go. I think Bottas might actually come out ahead of Hamilton here, thanks to Kevin Magnussen. Let's see what happens as we go down to turn 2, and Hamilton's just edge in front, so Hamilton lucky enough to stay ahead of his teammate, but not by much. That could have ended pretty badly for Hamilton there, but we are now comfortably ahead, and we're now less than half race distance to go, so let's bring this one home and bring home another W. As expected, another fastest lap, a 49.1, pretty big lap time there. Hamilton has stepped up the pace, but he's still not as fast as me. We are comfortably the fastest person around this circuit right now. Another fastest lap into the 1 minute 48, and that is pretty much a slam dunk message that no one is catching me this race. 10 laps to go, let's win it. Okay, so the rain I've just noticed has stopped and the sun's starting to come out. I wonder if there'll be an inter switch here. I'm starting to believe that the game might have actually given me the wrong strategy, or my team with the monitor at the start of the race, but the track is showing absolutely no signs of drying out just yet. It's still very greasy and wet, and the lap times, as you just saw, are still as quick as ever. So let's see what happens here. Ooh, yellow flag behind. I don't know what happened there, but someone's had an issue. Either way, Ricciardo is in P3 and Bottas is now no longer in P2, so I wonder if Bottas maybe had a problem. Hamilton now back up into second place, Ricciardo onto a podium position. It's been dry for about 5 laps now, no rain, but the track just isn't drying out, so I think we are going to see this race out on the intermediate tyre, I think. Nico Hülkenberg out of the Russian Grand Prix in that Renault car. First proper retirement of the Grand Prix, unfortunate one for the German. He was running best the rest, I believe, so he'll be a little bit disappointed with that one. The team just suggested to me that it might be time for the dry tyre, but I'm really not feeling that cool. The track still looks very moist and slippery to me, so I'm going to ignore what he just said and just try and bring this one home on inters, unless the track now dramatically dries out in the last few laps. We are still going well here, back into the 148s for the last couple of laps, so I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to drive this one home on inters, I think. Okay, DRS enabled. That is the telltale sign that it's time for dry tyres, so that's quite interesting. So it might well be dry tyre weather, but for what's left in the Grand Prix and the gap that I have, I'm just going to stick it out on the inters, I think. Final corner. Onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. Let's bring this one home. Right then into the final couple of corners, and it's been a very good race, very enjoyable, a dominant performance in the end, and we're going to come home to win the Russian Grand Prix, and another victory for us, 2 in a row after Singapore, and really extending our championship lead here. But a very good race, and I've got to be honest, I didn't really expect us to win that one after the qualifying pace. The race pace there was so much more stronger, and the wet conditions definitely helped out. I think they suit the car a lot more, and it gave me a much better chance to really try and perform better. So I can't really complain. Overall, it all worked out okay for us. And in terms of the podium, we are on the top step with Lewis Hamilton to one side and Daniel Ricciardo to the other, managing to hold on to that podium for Red Bull there. So good result for both of those guys, especially for Red Bull and Daniel Ricciardo there. But we take the top step of the podium with 25 points as we go into the next race, which I believe will be for the for the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, which I'm looking forward to. But there you go, there's your top three, and we're now going to move into the final race results, drivers and constructor standings. So looking at the final race results, Sebastian Vettel wins and Lewis Hamilton comes home in second place with Daniel Ricciardo in P3, Raikkonen in P4 ahead of Max Verstappen, and Romain Grosjean in P6 there ahead of Valtteri Bottas. So very good result for him in the Haas car there. Kevin Magnussen also in the second Haas P8, and then Fernando Alonso scoring points from McLaren, Sergio Perez rounding out the top 10. Stoffel Van Dorn unfortunately just missing out. In terms of the championship, 59 points separates Vettel and Hamilton at the top of the pile, and it's looking very much a one-sided affair as we go into the final 5 races of the season. And finally, looking at the constructors, you can see Ferrari lead the way by 81 points. So overall, Ferrari are walking the championships and dominating at the moment, and it's all looking very nice and rosy going into the tail end of the season there. But we're now going to move into the next race in Japan. If you guys did enjoy this episode though for the Russian Grand Prix, then drop a like on the video. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 and MotoGP content, and turn on notifications to not miss a single upload from me. And finally, check out these 2 videos on screen if you have missed. And other than that, thanks for watching guys, and see you in the next episode very soon. Goodbye.